Hi, okay, so another video. This one's going to be shorter, I think. I was asked to make a video by a friend, and here we are. He wanted me to talk about how difficult it is, to get out of basically hell. Our world, the universe. This is a friend who is from Source, and he wants me to talk about certain things. I told him he needs to start his own channel, but he has his reasons for me to talk about it, so I said, okay, alright. In any case, we're going to look at Marvin Kenny and bring some of his requests into this video. So, beginning with some of his requests to talk about the difficulties of getting out of hell, the universe, and connecting it to Marvin Kenny's work. Let's say that the deeper you go into the matrix or the vortex, the more difficult it is for you to get out. He said he is trying to get back to Source. He is from a dimension below mine within Source. Source has many dimensions. This is not a hierarchy, but it's just a matter of how much you're willing to give. Some of you are here to do a job, and at great cost. For me, I would rather leave, but I know the bigger picture, so it is only now. This is the last incarnation, my last incarnation before I go home. So my job is pretty much done. Pretty much anything I'm putting out is just basically bonus. But this is an individual, my friend, who is very strong, but he is someone who has dumbed himself down. In high school, he was a special ed student and is still struggling with his mental institute. I don't know what's the word, I can't find the right words, but in any case, he is having a difficult time because he made certain decisions in past lives before being born, and he has a few lives left before he reaches Source. And I've been giving him advice on how to reduce that number 5 or 6 times he was told in the ayahuasca state. It could have been 10, but because of his hard work, he is now certain he can reduce it to what the ayahuasca message said, 5 or 6. I told him that he could reduce it to 2 if he really put in the work. So basically, the lower you go into the matrix, the more problems you have, the longer you will stay. A mistake could cost you 1,000,000 years. The last video he sent me was about, well, all the things I described. What I paid particular attention to was the percentage of people who return to Source. Very few. If I remember correctly, it's in the millions. If you take into account the number of people who are on this planet, billions, and this planet is only one of many in the entire universe, You know the number is insignificant. Okay, so I think he said millions. Maybe perhaps it's in the low billions, but I would have to double check. But in any case, the essential key here is that the percentage of people who return to source, the final dimension is very low. Very, very low. So those of you who are trying to help others, you are on a mission impossible journey. So keep that in mind. Mission impossible. That mission impossible has already been attained. Just a matter of you seeing deeper into the whole picture to understand at a deeper level of consciousness, at a deeper level of intelligence, that you will succeed. No matter how many times darkness attacks you, keep things in perspective. This is a message that I try to remind myself of all the time. So, Martin Kenny spews lies again, and to make the connection to what my friend is saying, it's going to take him a very long time to get out of the matrix. Here he is talking about, in this video is called Navigation. There is a dash between Navi, gate, and then Shin. Path of least resistance. The path of least resistance is a path of, for him, darkness. So let us begin with him talking about Earth is a school. Earth is not a school per se. Earth is a prison realm, just like most realms in the entire universe. Here he's talking about the university level, the high school level, the primary school, preschool. This is a notion that has been stuffed in our throat, in our minds. We're not in a school. I'm right, absolutely right. And if you think I'm wrong, too bad, I'm right. See, one of the things that I notice about beings in this dimension is that they don't want to hear people who are, when they know from the light level, they are absolutely right. But the only thing that changes anything quickly is when you are firm, when you say the absolute truth, even if they dislike you. So I'm going to continue doing that, because there are too many beings, not just on this planet, in other realms as well, who are in denial. A few months ago, I was helping someone, a being in another realm, in a non-physical, who was playing a game. I don't remember whether I was okay, the specifics I don't remember, but it was a feminine energy. I think it was a girl who was making a joke. She said something to the effect of, she said something to the effect of, "Are you always right?" And given that I had brought my mind into this vision, this not vision because it was real, it actually took place. I began to consider her perspective and to see whether or not she was right, and I cast a doubt on what I knew was absolute. But she herself admitted that she was joking later, and that made me like, okay, so I'm trying to help you and you're trying to play a game here. Why are you so concerned about whether or not I'm always right? What does it matter to you? Why are you playing a game? So in any case, at the mind level, when I woke up, that's what I thought. So people play games. People's souls play game. The thing to remember is that everybody play games at the light level. By playing games, I mean that a part of the soul, the part that is in the helm of the navigation of this frequency, in charge of the learning, quote unquote learning, is playing a game. And souls are geniuses. Everybody and everything, every tree, every bird is a genius, whether or not they have been dumbed down or not, deep inside. So they're playing a game, a serious game, a game that will hurt them, a game that will allow them to feel peace. So I try to remember that. Martin Kenny is playing a game that will cause him a lot of pain. I think one of the things that I'm working on is letting go of pain inflicted upon me. And by that, well, let's go into the video, and perhaps we'll come back to that later. 11 minutes. This is where Martin talks about school as being Earth being a school. Let's listen.
To propose, I suppose. Earth is a school, and like any school, I want you to imagine you're in a school, and this school has got grades that begin from kindergarten or preschool right up to university, all within the same grounds, or within the same property. Okay, so this is one massive school, and the youngest student in this school is 3 years old, a preschooler, and the oldest student is 24, 25, whatever it is, whatever age it is you finish university. Okay? This Earth is exactly akin to that. We are in this massive school. And within this massive school, there are definitely 4 groups or 4 tiers of souls consciously. Okay? And these 4 tiers of souls fall into these 4 categories: preschoolers, primary schoolers, high schoolers, and those at university level. Now this can also be mirrored with the seasons, right? Winter, summer, autumn, spring. It can also be mirrored with the ages, the golden age, the silver age, the bronze age, the iron age. It's the same concept. All of this is based on one single universal truth. Okay? So consciously, here on Earth, all of us fall into one of these 4 schools of thought. All of us. Some of us are at preschool level, consciously. We're young souls, super young souls. Some are at primary school level, okay? Some are at high school level, and some are at university level, about to leave the school. Of course, those at preschool level, I've syncretized this with those 4 elements I was talking about: experience, learning, sharing, and growth. If you're preschool, you're here to experience. You're a young soul. All you want to do is experience life. That is your sole purpose, to experience. Okay? These are the young souls. Just like a toddler in preschool, that toddler is not really a preschool to learn. They're just exploring the world. That's all they want to do. That is where their level of consciousness is. Primary schooler, you get to primary school, you start learning. This is when you begin your actual learning process. So those who are consciously at stage 2 are that process of starting to learn and explore the world with a bit more depth other than just experiencing it. They're trying to better understand the world. These are the people trying to understand what is going on. Those who are in the high school tier, in the next level, it's not about hierarchy, it's just a natural flow, an ebb and flow of energy. I'm going to just put that disclaimer in there, just in case people think I'm promoting hierarchy, that others are more special than others. No, I'm not saying that. Those who are in high school are at the sharing stage. Right? These are the people who are now saying, I think...
Okay, so he goes on in details about the school. When I first heard about this school thing, it reminded me of Hans William. So let me see if I can bring Hans back. I've learned how to do this whole recording a bit better by pausing it. So I paused the video. I didn't find the section where he talks about the school, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I couldn't get enough sleep, so I got up to do a video here. I'm just going to talk about what I just noticed about Hans Williams. And then I'll continue with the whole school thing. I don't know how I missed this, but look at his eyes. Straight up and down. Look at the center. Reptilian. This is another sign that Hans Williams is a deceiver. In addition to blinking too much, a typical human does not blink that much. This guy has a slit pupil, or slit pupils, and I think that's interesting. So I found the video that talks about Earth being a school by Hans Williams. So let's listen.
To observe, some come to experience or to assist other souls, but most of us come here for karmic reasons, meaning we want to undo our karma, and we also want to grow and wake up to our true essence. Now, planet Earth is a magnificent schooling ground for that, because on planet Earth, souls from all different vibration and consciousness can incarnate. Normally, in the spiritual world, we are surrounded usually by souls of similar vibration like ourselves.
So you heard him say it. School, Earth is a school. If a game is rigged, is the rigging of the game part of the school? If you're trying to do something, you always have someone sabotaging you. That's part of the game? Maybe. That's part of the school? Well, if I know that I'm being rigged, and that no matter what I do, what amount of effort I put forth, well, then I might as well change my game. Earth is not a school. The entire universe is not a school. That is an absolute. But I know there are doubters. Whatever. From Hans Williams to other people such as Brian Weiss, the reincarnation father, the person who writes a lot of books about reincarnation. It's all the same nonsense. To the present, what we have currently, what we have Martin Kenny. It's all the same, just from different words. Back to Martin Kenny video, the navigation path of least resistance.
A few other entries, and then other ideas always spur from things I previously wrote as well. But I had this idea of, what if we're all, in fact, in the same cohort, if you will? In other words, when this game starts, like when the reset happens, we all enter as the same group. And that's when the game begins. And we're supposed to go through these experiences and try to get out of this game as quickly as possible. But some of us get lost.
That's the truest thing. One of the truest things that I've heard from these speakers on the Martin Kenny's platform.
And the temptations of the material plane. And when that happens, that's what starts to creating more and more challenges. And it's what's interesting about that is I have this top sentence, potentially versus actuality. I think because of the Iron Age, that gives you the potential for all those swings, but it doesn't mean that has to happen. That it's the human consciousness that actualizes it. And so I think this is where we discussed before, and there's some potential disagreements on, could a potential,
Okay, well,
perceived.
we're going to pause it here. Let's go on to when Martin talks about nature. 30 minutes and 30 seconds.
Way is how consciousness behaves. Everything is symbiotic. So this is the only reason why I say I think it is extremely unlikely. And if it did happen, it would create a complete imbalance to the whole ecosystem of everything. But we have to go through the gradual shifts of, if we're in the Iron Age, there has to be a shift slowly to the Golden Age, in the same way that nature behaves.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, there's a part of me that totally agrees with you, but there's another part that questions whether that perception is 100% accurate. And again, like I always share, and I think you shared in the beginning, is this is an ever-evolving, perception. So at the current moment, the only reason I question that is because if you take a plant or a life form and you put it into optimal conditions, I mean, especially a plant, it has the potential to carry on its life forever. It's the lack of optimal conditions that causes it to wither and quote unquote die, to go through those seasons of life. And this goes into, I think I've shared in previous episodes regarding Greg Braden and Fractal Time, this idea that our consciousness is actually impacting the environment of the weather. That
Okay, so that's true.
Because we're operating a lower vibration, our reality and the environment for which we experience this game is changing accordingly. And so, point being is if we had all raised our vibration, raised our consciousness to a higher level, would we then produce an environment that helps sustain life and inevitably, like through eternity? We suddenly have life forms that exist through hundreds and thousands of years, like we hear about these in myths and legends. Is there the possibility for that to occur?
Yes, I would say yes, there is. I would say there is that possibility 100%. But there's a possibility of everything. But what I would say is the way this system is designed by the universe.
By the universe. It wasn't designed by Source. Okay? It was not designed by Source. It's been controlled. It's been aided by Source, but it was not designed by Source.
Does not allow for that possibility.
That possibility does not allow for that possibility. This is the guy who draws a model. Martin Kenney is a guy who drew a model of the entire universe, how the entire universe looks. Do you think that he doesn't know about cloning? Do you think that he doesn't know about extraterrestrials? Do you think that he doesn't know about financial problems? You don't think that he knows about fake weather, the fake sun?
To happen that way, because it would it would hinder on the ebb and flow of the experience that we're having.
That's bullshit. He's lying. It would not hinder. You don't need negativity to move forward. If you've experienced enough pain, you don't need more pain. When you don't want the pain, then you experience more joy. It's simple as that. We don't live for pain, we live for joy. Those of us who really understand how painful certain experiences are, let go of those pain. The deeper you go into the matrix, the more difficult it is to come out of it. Difficult, as my friend said.
We're here to go through these motions, or these seasons.
People like him, Martin, will go through these motions, these extreme pains that they are trying to hold off, they're trying to prevent, but they will go through it.
Seasons of change.
Let me just add here that our job, those of us who are trying to help these beings like Martin, is to speed up the process so they can experience less pain, but they're not listening.
So by the time we come out the other end, we are well seasoned. We're well seasoned beings. We're well seasoned conscious beings. When we get back to that oneness or that source, when we get to the golden ages, we can look back and say, wow, I've done it. I've got a sense of achievement.
He's bullshitting again.
I didn't take shortcuts. I didn't jump the queue. I went through the motions.
I didn't jump the cube. Where have I heard that before? The cube. What do Muslims worship? The cube. I didn't jump the matrix, the cube. I didn't jump Saturn, the cube. Really?
And I learned everything I needed to learn. I went through from grade 1, from nursery, all the way. I went through all the different classes up to where I am. And there's a sense of achievement in that. And we've all done that. We've all done things and you look back and say, I'm glad I learned. I'm glad I didn't take shortcuts. I'm glad this wasn't handed to me.
No, actually, I'm glad I took shortcuts. I'm glad that pain was brought upon me by source, my source, to get out of that mindless suffering, useless suffering that I experienced in 2008, 2009.
On a silver platter. I'm glad that we had to learn this way. And this is why I'm saying that, yes, I agree that there is a bit. If everyone woke up tomorrow and we all decided game over, the game would end. Definitely, because we are all God. We are all that.
Okay, he just said we are all gods. I mean, how many times do I have to tell people that everyone is a fractal, a part of the whole piece? The only reason why you don't have as much power is because you've allowed your energy to be lowered. We have allowed ourselves to be dumbed down. That's why we can never be, well, for a long time, we won't reach source, that level of power where we can forgive more quickly / kick ass a little more quickly if that's what's needed. Okay, because we have the right to protect ourselves without, quote unquote, obliterating our so-called enemies.
Consciousness. We all collectively. But what I'm saying is that is unlikely to ever happen. We can't even agree on it.
It is likely to happen. They're playing, they're doing the good cop, bad cop. It is likely to happen. That is the fastest way for it to happen, for it to reach source. For us to bring more positivity forward instead of playing this duality game that he says is absolutely necessary.
The shape of the earth. We can't even agree on what
we can't even agree on the shape of the earth. Let me go back a little bit.
It would hinder on the ebb and flow of the experience that we're having. We're here to go through these motions or these seasons of change. So by the time we come out the other end, we are well seasoned. We're well seasoned beings. We're well seasoned conscious beings. When we get back to that oneness or that source, when we get to the golden ages, we can look back and say, wow, I've done it. I've got a sense of achievement. I didn't take shortcuts. All that consciousness. We all collectively. But what I'm saying is that is unlikely to ever happen. We can't even agree on the shape of the earth. We can't even agree on what foods to eat. We can't even agree on the basic fundamental things of being a human being. So how can we even agree on ending the game if we've not even mastered cohesion?
You don't need to agree on the game. Martin Luther King. Even, how does he say it? Even in the minority of one, the truth is still the truth. Even in a minority of one, the truth is still the truth. Martin Luther King is a deceiver. Was a deceiver, I should say, is a deceiver, because he's never died. He faked his death. But that's one of the things that he said that is absolutely correct. We don't need to agree to go back to source. The whole world doesn't need to change. The whole entire universe does not need to change for us to get out of hell. We can get out. Those who want to stay will stay.
In the small, tiny things that we experience on a daily basis. So this is why I'm saying Yes, I agree with you 100%, definitely.
No, you don't, because you're contradicting him. We're going to look at his last comment that I made here, where he talks a positive doesn't attract negative, or if that's my word, let's look at it. 39:40. Okay, I will figure out quickly whether that was my comment or not. 30. Okay, so there we go.
Because magnets have poles, correct? So when the poles come together, they're the opposites that have attracted, or the north, or the north and the south poles. And I think about the whole idea of your original formula, Martin, about the neutrals, the negatives, and the positives, is because we're talking about how do we, decode the matrix in this reality in such a way that we can go into that space of transmuting.
Okay, so this lady, she's part of the broadcast team. So that was my comment. Positives don't attract negatives. It is only the part of that negative that is positive. All beings have some element of positivity. It is that element of the positivity that attracts the so-called positive. The attraction is just an illusion. They're talking about magnets, and I mean the whole entire world, this universe, is set up for us to accept and believe. We have electricity, we have negative and positive. It's just not just science, that's part of science. It's just everything is set up for us to, oh, okay, this makes sense, because that's how it has been presented to us. But when we look a little deeper, we understand that we are being fooled, bamboozled on purpose. For you don't even need an element of positivity in a negative dark entity for a bright being to come help, because that bright being is smart enough to understand that if we don't help the extremely dark, they will be in pain for a very long time. And so we help because we understand that at the base, at the core, our overall source objective is the same objective as the dark entities. Dark entities are working against themselves, and we are working for the positivity of ourselves. So to conclude here, I would say that my friend is absolutely correct. I felt a bit of his pain when he sent me a video where he talked about how difficult it is. He was trying to go home. He is trying to go home to source, but he is facing obstacles, unbelievable obstacles, because of the mistakes he has made in the past. He said to talk about this in these videos, so he gave me access, he gave me permission to talk about it. So I will say the details. What I sensed from him was frustration, pain. I still think that he needs to make his own YouTube video account, but for what it's worth, if you go deeper into the matrix, you will align yourself with darkness. It will be much harder for you. It will take you billions and trillions of years to come out. And you are being selfish because you're leaving your job, your work, up to other people to take care of. No one is your God. We're here not because we have to, because of love. That's bullshit. We don't have to do shit. You are everything that exists and will ever exist. Take care of your own problem, people. Darkness Stop being dark. And do take care of your own problems. Because what you're doing is playing games, throwing out negativity, hoping that you fool people, you fool those who are trying to help you into doing your job for you. We're doing your job for you. That which is your job, we're doing for you. Because without us, before you come out of it, you could do it yourself. Before you come out of it, you would experience pain, unbelievable pain. It is pity that we take on your soul. Take this any way you want. I don't give a shit. But what is absolutely is we're doing your job for you. Darkness. We're doing your job for you because you're refusing to do that which is right, to improve your health. You're refusing to be a better soul. And when we say, we get upset because we're telling the absolute truth because you have demons inside. Darkness. Hey. Whatever. I guess there's a reason why I don't get many views. I'm okay with that now. It took a while. Good luck on your journey back to source consciousness, because your objective is my objective.